Hey Reddit, what are some of your first-hand experiences with unexplained phenomena? Me and a friend were driving home through the mountains. We're in Co, and we were out taking pictures. It was starting to get dark, and it was raining. So we are on this mountain road, and all of a sudden it looked like we were going to hit a black Bronco. The lights on it were off, and we both bracing for impact. And, nothing was there. We both saw it though. It was clear enough for both of us to even determine the make of the vehicle. Once I was driving to work. Suddenly, I blurted out Fond du Lac, which I have subsequently found is a place in Wisconsin. This took me by surprise, because I'm not prone to blurt out obscure place names to myself whilst driving. That evening, I was driving home, doing 80 in the passing lane. I was passing a trailer truck, got halfway up the trailer, and on the trailer right in the middle it said Fond du Lac, which took me so much by surprise that I hit the brake to make sure I wasn't seeing things. As I looked at the truck, something happened in lane 1, and the truck swerved hard over into my lane. Because I had already braked, I was able to avoid narrowly being run off the road or crushed, who knows, by the truck as it ran into my lane. Fond du Lac. True story. No witnesses. I saw a ghost once, but I punched him, so he ran away. We were driving home from some kind of school play at my school when I was like 11, and suddenly a blue-white circle flashed up in the sky, like a blue lightning bolt doing a circle in the sky high above us. Both my brother and I saw it. My brother said it can't have been some electrical fault in the poles. It was too high. So he just said it was some firecracker or something. But it was straight above us, about 20 mount. To this day I don't really know what it was. It was so big as well. I've seen ghosts twice. The first one was a generic floating monk figure with a pitch black face that appeared to me when I was 4 or 6. I was fully awake and walking around. I even spoke to it before it disappeared. The second one was my dead grandmother when I was in my early 20s. I was cooking, and she just stood there a few feet in front of me. I even closed and opened my eyes, and turned around and back to see if she would disappear. She vanished when I started to walk towards her. I'm a skeptic and an atheist. I'm also a little insane. When I was about 14, me and about 6 friends were playing hide and seek at night with flashlights at our cabin in a very rural area of western New York. Approaching from the west, we noticed a V-shaped formation of yellow glowing discs, maybe 7 or 9, which silently glided above us, continuing toward the east. When they were directly above, one of the friends with a flashlight started shining it upward toward them, and I freaked out thinking they were going to come down. After they passed, it took maybe 20 to 30 seconds. We ran into the cabin to tell the adults. They just said it was probably an airplane. I've seen thousands of airplanes at night, and this wasn't even remotely close to what an airplane looks like. When I was a kid and lived at home, I was brushing my teeth when I heard faint voices coming from the bathroom mirror. They were very faint, and I could almost make out what they were saying. I got my mom, and she heard it too. We were both freaking out until my dad came home from night school, laughed at our voices, and pulled down a box from atop the bathroom closet. Neither my mom or I could see it, as it were too high and hidden in the back. It contained a pair of wireless headphones he had bought for my coming birthday. He had been testing them and had forgot to turn them off. He had only killed the stereo, where the transmitter/mini jack was plugged in, and they were picking up the local talk radio station. But for a few hours, there were voices behind the bathroom mirror, which really freaked my little mind. When I was 4, I woke up suddenly in tears, screaming that my grandmother had just died. She had been in the hospital for months following an open chest surgery that left her septic. Surely enough, after my father woke up and calmed me down, he received a call from the hospital that my grandmother had died at 2:33 a.m. due to an aneurysm. I had waken up at 2:30 a.m. Also, when I was about 9, I had a brief déjà vu experience, but it is not worth mentioning. The only thing I've ever seen. I threw a super ball at a wall in an empty room. All the windows were closed, and so forth. I heard it hit once, then it was gone. My friend was there to see it. We scoured the walls for 1/2 an hour looking for a hole. There was none that we could find. I'm not going to explain, because it happens too often, but when I was younger I used to have frequent occurrences of déjà vu. These stopped for a year not too many years ago, but then came right back, not as often as before but still. Sometimes it doesn't happen in months, other times it can happen a few times a week. However, thinking about it, it's been 4 months since I last had it. People say déjà vu just tells you your life is on track. Others say it's just your brain pattern matching a past experience with a current one. I prefer the initial, however I do find it very worrying that I'm not getting it anymore. Get the bathroom as steamy as possible. Try to get all possible sunshine coming in through the window, hitting the mirror, and illuminating the steam. Hopefully, after staring at the mostly reflectionless fogged up mirror for a few seconds, you see 2 donut-sized halos of light encircling your eyes in the mirror. Edit. This one is technically unexplained, but probably not unexplainable. I had an elaborate dream that included my dead grandfather. At the end of that dream, he was dying again, but from something entirely different, and he was still conscious. He told me to check on my grandmother's farm for leaks in their water system that went to the fields. The next weekend, when I was down visiting them, I had learned that one of the pipes that went to one of the field faucets had busted, and my uncle was working on fixing it. I chalk it up to coincidence. I mean, seriously, my grandfather isn't going to pass a message to me from the afterlife about a goddamn water pipe. In 3rd grade, my school had a big glass vase filled with jelly beans, and all the students were to guess how many there were in order to win it. Some stupid TV show got it in my head that you could psychically predict numbers by completely clearing your head of any thought and allowing the first number to pop up. So while other students spent all this time using counting and estimation techniques, I did the clear my mind thing and I came up with the exact number of jelly beans. I then used to do this all the time with my dad, while watching The Price is Right, or with friends by guessing the number they were holding behind their back. I got away from doing these guessing games as I got older, but still there's a strand of belief still in me that thinks, maybe, just maybe. Time travel. A friend of mine was out of his mind on a large quantity of mushrooms while in the woods and, amongst his various word salads, proclaimed that he was on the bridge and 3 of our good friends. It went largely unnoticed as one of many ridiculous things he said. A month later, he and a few friends smoked some potent salvia extract on a bridge in a park near our campus, and he nearly fell over the railing when it hit him. When they picked him up, he was babbling about how he was back in the woods, talking to his mushroom tripping past self from a month ago, comforting him about the bad trip. None of this surprised anyone until they realized that a month ago he had correctly named the 3 friends present with him on the bridge. Mind you, I was on acid when they returned from the bridge and explained to everyone what had happened. But yeah, time travel totally. Okay, you can make fun of me all you want, but I always know what TV shows are coming on the next day. I'm not talking about the shows themselves, but the actual episodes. In the morning driving to work, you'll think of something from a TV show like some dialogue, and that night it always comes on. Weird. This one time, after getting really drunk, I woke up at home in my bed with no idea how I got there. I was in elementary school at the time and playing kickball during recess. Someone kicked the ball straight at me, and it was a little high in the air. I jumped up to catch it and jumped a little early. I felt like I was in the air, just floating and waiting for the ball to reach me, and eventually I caught it. I felt like I was in the air for an unusually long time, like just hovering there. I didn't discuss that moment with anyone after the fact, until about 4 years later when this girl I knew mentioned the moment, and said that I seemed to hover in the air. I'd like to believe that I did hover that day, but the reality is that I have always been a really good jumper my whole life, and it was probably just a really good, but normal jump. That's some pretty good memory prediction. Did you have a reputation as a psychic after that? I've never had any unexplainable phenomenon, though I think I can prevent things from happening by visualizing them. It feels like it works pretty well. I know that if I tested it scientifically it would probably fail. I was in one of my early morning computer science classes back in college. The teacher had some serious communications difficulties, and no amount of trying could help me, or anyone else in the class, understand what he was saying. The boredom was awful. About 40 minutes into one class, I was staring at my watch, and I thought to myself loudly, time could not possibly move any slower than this. Right as I finished that thought, the thick glass crystal covering my watch face cracked and split directly down the middle. I hadn't moved my arm in the slightest, jostled it, or done anything else that might have caused that. I was sitting perfectly still. The watch was a few years old and had taken a few bumps here and there, but the timing of its demise was almost too much to believe. I don't think that I have ESP, or that the dead walk among us unseen, or any other such nonsense, but I have no explanation for that one.